Let's get to our first email. We have one over there for us?
Yes, we do. Hey there, Life on the Rock and Pure in Heart. How can I discipline myself from thinking impure and lustful thoughts? What are the steps that I need to take in order to help change the way my mind thinks? Many thanks for your opinion and help. Carol from the Philippines.
Thank you, Brother Leo, our official email reader for the night. What's a good answer to that? How do you, I mean, because we were talking, in addition to the surrender, I know during the break we were talking about something that really ties in well with this email.
Absolutely. Well, there's, say, so many influences, and what we fill our mind with affects our behavior so much. It comes out in how we act and how we speak. And unfortunately, so much of, say, just the TV, plain TV, is saturated with sexual imagery, the magazines and stuff. So it really has to be down to discipline in our own lives as to what we allow into our minds, because that will affect us. So it comes down to magazines, TV, whatever we're exposing ourselves to, because that will all affect us. So we have to be very disciplined in that regard.
So video games, movies, internet, friends,
Friends,
people
the conversation,
people we hang out with.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can be very difficult if you're with a group of friends that are continually talking about sexual stuff, or they're bragging about it, or they're leading you down a road that's leading to problems. Well, it's going to be very difficult to break from that because peer pressure is so strong. But I know, again, in our own community, there's many people that have changed their lives, and one of the main things that helped them change their life was breaking with that group of friends. Now, that's difficult. When you're with a group of friends and maybe you've grown up with them, it's not easy to remove yourself from your friends.
And you had said, I know during the break, that you didn't think you could remain in this fighting stance, if you will, for purity without the community, the friendships that you formed through Pure in Heart.
Yeah. Well, that's after a conversion experience, kind of similar to Patricia's. God led me to Pure in Heart without a shadow of a doubt, because He knew at that point that that was something I needed. I needed that support in order to be able to grow. If I didn't get that at that point, well, I don't know if I would have been living chastity. I certainly can't imagine that I would have been volunteering, going around teaching chastity.
Sure.
So it was definitely a great gift at that point in my life.
I think a great point too you all are making is that, you know, God's love is what satisfies us. It's what we're longing for, and that love comes to us certainly through the sacraments, through a prayer life, but also through others. You know, if we have this fellowship, this communion of believers, that helps to satisfy our hearts, right? That we're seeking in these false ways all the time.
Absolutely.
Have you experienced that in your prayer group, your community?
Christianity is about community. It was in the beginning. Christ and His apostles, you know. We're not supposed to be lone rangers. We're not supposed to be fighting the good fight on our own.
Every Lone Ranger needs a Tonto.
Yeah, we're supposed to be enriching and nourishing one another.
And that's these American sayings.
We're teaching them so much while they're here, Father. Brother Leo has now adopted the safari cap look over there. You have another email for us, brother?
Dear Life on the Rock, many girls that I know are sexually active, say they have no regrets, and they think it's great. It seems to be the focus of every conversation in high school. How do you get them to see that it really is affecting them? To tell them they are in denial just won't do it. They think it's all fun and games. Rachel from Canada.
What do you think, Patricia? What do you say to the young ladies out there who are living that kind of behavior pattern and have not processed the reality that this is not the order that God has ordained for them?
Well, you know, no matter what a lot of people say and do, they might not be telling the truth. I think anybody who's exposing themselves to be used or using other people is deeply unhappy. I know from my own experience and friends who said, and even myself, you know, oh, this is great, you know, and you know, people talk about how good it is, you know, and in the same way that, you know, TV does, you know, like, oh, it's so exciting, or it's what everyone's talking about, because people like to be able to say that they know about things, you know, and young people are the same, especially to do with this whole area of your sexuality. I think that a lot of people, like, it's like, you know, when you ever go on a holiday and you spent a lot of money and it was okay, and you have to say, oh, it was a great time because I spent so much money, I have to say it was good now, right?
So, you know, because you feel a bit like a fool. If you've done something and committed something of yourself to an event or an action, and then you find out that it's less than what you thought it would be, or maybe even turns into something that's destructive.
And everyone else isn't saying that it's great, and I don't want to be the one that's left out. So, I mean,
so what do we say to them? I mean, how do you reach young ladies, young men, anybody who's kind of living in this this dream world? You know, really, whether they believe it or not, they're miserable to some degree because they're outside of God's order.
course.
How do you reach them?
Well, you tell them the proper order. You know, you say,
kind of like admonish the sinner and instruct the ignorant, and then.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go. I mean, it doesn't work going in there with a sledgehammer and saying, you know, oh, look at the mistakes you've made, you know, because did Christ teach like that? No. So you want to reach the heart of a person, you have to address that need, and their desire of every human heart is to be loved. So you have to, a lot of the time we don't know what love is. Like Damien said, there's that big lie. Sex equals love and everyone wants love. So if you're not doing it, you're weird. So you have to address that. And if you explain, if people find out what real love is, you know, it's about that self-sacrifice, it's about that commitment, the beauty of that. I mean, they're the things that make your heart warm even when you hear them. I mean, it's a thing that caught me. I remember one of the lads was explaining what real true love was. And I can't even remember what he said, you know, it was hard to remember, but he described what real true love was. And in my head, I was like, oh, I want that. I've never had that. I really want that. And then he said, you know, why do you think you don't deserve it? And I was like, what? And he said, there's 90 other people in the room, you know, and something just like poof, right in the heart. Right. And I went away thinking, you know, I realized that if you think you don't deserve something, then you're not looking for it, you don't expect it, and you are never going to get it.
Do you think then that a lot of young people just don't hear the true definition of what real love is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and so the moment that they would hear it, it's like a glass of cool water on a hot day?
Yeah.
It's refreshing?
Yeah, the greatest way in which to try and reach out to young people is to present the truth with love. And that is like the sword that could pierce any heart and open them up.
You know, I think that's the same for parents. I think we parents, I mean, I have children. I have to present things in a way. Sure, there has to be a strength and a firmness to it, but there has to be a conviction and a love. And I fear sometimes parents come down so hard on their kids with, you can't this and you can't that or else. And although that may be true, there needs to be an explanation and understanding that there's a love behind this that's greater than we can all, you know, understand.
You hit the key word, explanation. Kids won't take the no. Not today anyway. They want to know the why. And if you can't explain the why to them, they're going to go, well, you don't know the answers. But that's the whole thing with the presentation. We go in and we explain, you know, and we take the questions and we explain further. And they're learning, you know, they're taking it on board. It's like they're learning it, we're not teaching it.
Yeah,
you know?
excellent.
They're taking ownership.